guys, it's Seanie B, and let's talk about episode 4. Okay, so getting right into it, this episode is about Kate. It's her flash forward when she gets off the island. As we know from the end of season 3, she's actually one of the Oceanic Six. This episode's all about her and her trial from when she murdered her father in an earlier season. And throughout this flash forward, it's mainly in the courtroom. The title of this episode is called Eggtown. It starts off with Locke. He gets some eggs, and it shows that he makes those eggs for Ben for breakfast. Now, why was the episode named Eggtown, and why is it significant? Well, Eggtown usually refers to something like a bad deal. Years and years ago, salesmen would go to certain towns to do business, but all sometimes people had were to trade were the eggs they had. Eggs weren't popular to trade, but everyone had them, and because you can't preserve eggs for long, trading something for eggs was considered usually a bad deal. So some of the salesmen would warn other salesmen not to go to Eggtown because you couldn't get a good deal there. And later in the episode, we'll see that Ben and Miles make a deal, and Kate makes a deal. So these could refer to bad deals, and that could be why the name of the episode was Eggtown. Locke gets the eggs and brings it down to Ben, and who's in the cellar downstairs. But before he does that, he goes to a bookshelf and looks for a book and grabs a book called Valis. And I found out Valis is about this ancient mechanical object, intelligence thing that orbits the Earth, and it guides people, and the book's about a quest for God. So Locke brings that book down to Ben, and Ben looks at it and says, I've already read this. And Locke says, may read it again. You might catch something if you missed the first time. And Ben gives him a little smirk, probably saying that, I don't miss anything. Or it could be the writers talking to the viewers and trying to let them know that, watch the episodes again. You probably will see something you missed the first time. Ben plays mind games with Locke as usual, and makes a comment about Jacob not guiding him further. And it gets you kind of wondering why Jacob or Walt haven't guided him further. Maybe it's since Locke didn't stop Naomi from making the call. The whole freighter thing has to resolve before he's given further instructions. And anyway, in the room, Locke gets mad, and he goes outside, slams the door, and throws a tray of food against the wall. If you notice, it looks flimsy. It's like a wobbly board. It's not a solid wall. I'm not sure what that's about. It goes to Kate's flash forward, and she's in a car with her lawyer, and she says, let's do this. She gets out of the car and surrounded by media and angry people yelling at her. If you notice, there's this one guy with a beard, and he's wearing a beige jumpsuit. He looks like one of the others from the island. He's the only one that's dressed differently. And he yells at her. You can't really make it out, but it turns out that it's actually English backwards. And here, I'll play it for you. Okay, and here's the conversation. I'll play the regular version for you. It'll be a tiny bit longer, and I'll tell you to pay attention to the part where he's talking backwards.
Okay. Let's do this. What are you doing, Kate? We through.
Okay, it's coming up right here. And here it is in English backwards. And again. Now it's funny because the writers know that the only people that will hear this are the diehards who like to look at every little thing, so maybe it's a message to them saying, we hate you for overanalyzing everything. But it's probably directed to Kate. So apparently we have this one weird bearded guy that can talk in English backwards just like Miles can. I'm also not sure why they hate Kate so much. She gets in the courtroom and she pleads guilty and everyone's surprised. And also, why was it held in California when the murder happened in Iowa? Now the lawyer also mentions that Kate has one of the most recognizable faces in America. This could mean that all the Oceanic Six members are famous because of what they went through, or it could mean that because of the trial and what she did, she's famous, just like O.J. Simpson was. It goes back to Jin and Sun on the island, and they're talking about places in America they could raise their baby, and I think this is important because it shows that either both of them or maybe just one of them could be an Oceanic 6 member, or else the writers probably wouldn't put that in there. Okay, so Locke's group is in the barracks where the other's old home was. Kate goes up to Locke's house that he's staying in and asks, where's Miles, and he won't tell her, so she goes and finds Hurley, and Hurley gets Scooby-Dooed, as he says, or gets tricked by her and ends up telling Kate that he's at the boathouse. Kate finds Miles and asks him, do you know who I am? Do you know what I did? Referring to off the island. And Miles says, I'll tell you what you want to know if you just let me talk to Ben for 1 minute. And he also says that he's exactly where he wants to be and he doesn't want to be let go. So it's pretty important, and I'll talk about it a little bit later too. We go back to the courtroom, and it's Duncan the lawyer and Kate, and Duncan says, we need to bring him in here for sympathy, and Kate immediately says, no, we're not using my son. And this is the first time we hear she has a son. My first reaction to that was I thought she's hiding her son, that no one else knows about it, and I'll talk a little bit about why I think that later too. Then we see Jack come to the courtroom, and he swears to tell the truth, but he doesn't look the guy in the eye. The lawyer asks Jack to tell about this, how he met Kate, just in case anyone hasn't read the newspapers or internet or watched TV. So it shows that the Oceanic 6 definitely have made headline news and that they're pretty famous, I take it. And we also know that from Hurley when he gets out of the car in episode 1, he yells out, I'm one of the Oceanic 6, so obviously people know who they are. Jack lies and says that only 8 people survived the crash and that 6 made it off, obviously, from the Oceanic 6, and that the plane crashed in the water. And now this is important because if you remember in episode 2, when those robots are searching underwater, they find the plane in the Sumter Trench. So someone's trying to tell Jack to just tell the story to everyone, so it's just staged. And we know Jack has been lying ever since end of season 3 when he's talking to Kate. He says, I'm tired of lying. In season 4, episode 1, he's playing horse with Hurley and says, have you told anyone? So obviously someone's trying to get them to not talk and not let anyone know about the island or that there's other survivors. And all the district attorney asks is if Jack loves Kate, and Jack takes a long pause and says, no, not anymore. Then we go back to the island. Kate goes over to Sawyer's house and comes inside, and Hurley comes down and winks at Sawyer, and Sawyer says, you got something in your eye there, Hugo? And Kate asks Sawyer if he can help break out Ben. And she's saying this later, we'll find out, knowing that Sawyer's going to talk to Locke about it.